Good morning. I'm Karen Hamstra on Monday, June 3rd, 2019, and welcome to Title Talk. I want to let you know that today, 2 copies of James Patterson's Unsolved by James Patterson and David Ellis will release. There are holds on this, but if you want to call in or log in to your account on the catalog, you can reserve a copy of Unsolved. And then, of course, the big news at the beginning of the month is that the new book page is out for you to pick up your very own free copy. They're in a rack just opposite of the front circulation desk. And you will notice that Elizabeth Gilbert was on the cover of this magazine about her new book, which I have here to show you. Elizabeth Gilbert, City of Girls. And this book does release tomorrow. I'm really not sure if there are holds on it or not, but it's about a 19-year-old in 1940 who was just kicked out of Vassar College owing to her lackluster academic performance. And she goes to Manhattan to live with an aunt who owns a flamboyant, crumbling midtown theater called the Lily Playhouse, and her adventures begin there. Elizabeth Gilbert, City of Girls. We have a new Jessica Fletcher book, Murder, She Wrote, Murder in Red. If you like the Murder, She Wrote TV series, you would no doubt enjoy this. And it is filed under Jessica Fletcher. And no, Jessica Fletcher is not a real person, but she does write books. We have a mouse who writes children's books, so this is entirely possible. Here's another fiction book by Richard Roper, How Not to Die Alone. It's never too late to start living. And this is about Andrew. Says he's been feeling stuck. For years he's worked a thankless public health job, searching for the next of kin of those who die alone. Luckily, he goes home to a loving family every night, and at least that's what his co-workers believe. Then he meets Peggy. A misunderstanding has left Andrew trapped in his own white lie and his lonely apartment. And when Peggy breezes into the office, she makes Andrew feel truly alive for the first time in decades, and he starts to wonder if there could be more to life than the life he is living. But telling Peggy the truth could mean losing everything, because for 20 years Andrew has worked to keep his heart safe, forgetting one important thing: how to live. Maybe it's time for him to start. How Not to Die Alone by Richard Roper. I think that sounds like kind of a heartwarming story. Here is a new science fiction book, Darkness on the Edge of Town by Adam Christopher. It is part of the Stranger Things series. In fact, it says it is an official Stranger Things novel. And in this one, Chief Jim Hopper reveals long-awaited secrets to 11, that's capitalized, about his old life as a police detective in New York City, confronting his past before the events of the hit show Stranger Things. Anthony Horowitz has a new book called The Sentence is Death. He is the best-selling author of The Magpie Murders and also The Word is Murder. He's really quite a brilliant writer. This is an inventive murder mystery. It says, you shouldn't be here, but it's too late. These, heard over the phone, are the last recorded words of successful celebrity divorce lawyer Richard Price, found bludgeoned to death in his bachelor pad with a bottle of wine, a 1982 Chateau Lafite worth £2,000 to be precise, which is odd considering he didn't drink. Why this bottle and why those words? And why did the killer paint a 3-digit number on the wall? And most important, which of the man's many enemies did the deed? The Sentence is Death by Anthony Horowitz. Then we have a new paperback novel called Peccadillo at the Palace. This is an Annie Oakley mystery by Carrie Beauvais. It says, a lonely woman, a lovely look into a woman who dared to be true to her own heart. It's 1887, and Annie and Buffalo Bill's Wild West show are invited to Queen Victoria's Jubilee celebration in London, England. But their long journey across the Atlantic takes a turn for the worst when the Queen's royal servant ends up dead and Annie's husband, Frank Butler, falls suspiciously ill. Annie soon discovers that the two are connected and may be precursors to an assassination attempt on the Queen. Peccadillo at the Palace, Carrie Beauvais. And our last fiction book of the week is a new Fern Michaels called Hot Shot. And it is part of her The Men of the Sisterhood series. It says the Sisterhood, a group of women bound by friendship and a quest for justice. Now their male allies, the men of the Sisterhood, have formed a top secret organization of their own with the same goal of helping the helpless and righting the wrongs of the world. Loyalty is a way of life for the Sisterhood and their significant others. When lawyer Lizzie Fox's husband, Cosmo Cricket, is left critically injured after being shot by an unknown assailant, the men of the Bolo Consultants head straight for Las Vegas to comfort Lizzie and to uncover a dangerous enemy in the City of Sin. Hot Shot by Fern Michaels. And then just a quick 3 nonfiction books. The Art of Happy Moving by Ali Winsky. This small little book will tell you everything you need to do to make your household move an enjoyable experience. I mean, really, this woman has covered everything. This book can be found at 648.9, and the call number beneath 648.9 is WEN. Loon Shots by Safi Bakal. This is how to nurture the crazy ideas that win wars, cure diseases, and transform industries. It says, what can we learn from human nature and world history from a glass of water? In Loon Shots, physicist and entrepreneur Safi Bakal recalls a surprising new way of thinking about the mysteries of group behavior and the challenges of nurturing radical breakthroughs. Loon Shots identifies the small shifts in structure that control this transition the same way that temperature controls the changes from water to ice. So he uses examples that range from the spread of forest fires to the hunt for terrorists online and stories of thieves and geniuses and kings. He shows how this new kind of science helps us understand the behavior of companies and the fates of empires. Loon Shots distills these insights for creatives, entrepreneurs, and visionaries everywhere. And this can be found at 658.4 BAH. How to Nurture the Crazy Ideas in Loon Shots. It just sounded kind of interesting. And our last book today is Furious Hours, Murder, Fraud, and the Last Trial of Harper Lee by Casey Chepp. I don't know. Pardon me, Casey. Of course, you know that Harper Lee was the author of To Kill a Mockingbird, and she also helped run her family's small town newspaper, and she sat in the audience during the trial of a vigilante who he was a rural preacher accused of murdering 5 of his family members for insurance money back in the 1970s. And with the help of a savvy lawyer, he escaped justice for years until a relative shot him dead at the funeral of his last victim. Despite hundreds of witnesses, Maxwell's murderer was acquitted thanks to the same attorney who had previously defended the Reverend. So Harper Lee was in the audience, and she helped research the true crime classic In Cold Blood with her friend Truman Capote. And she spent a year in town reporting on the Maxwell case and many more years trying to finish the book that she called The Reverend. And so now this author has finished the book for her and tries to bring the trial to life. And it can be found at 364.152 CEP. 364.15232 CEP. This book has gotten a lot of pre-publication press and really should be quite popular, and I can tell you that there are no holds on it, so if you want to pursue this one, come down and check it out. That's all for this week. We'll see you next week. Happy reading!